Hello fellow Tenno, if you have clicked on this video it means you're looking at how to farm Lavos. Well, look no further as I'm about to explain the best current method to farm and obtain the components required for you to assemble this frame. Post Very Paradox, there is still only a single method to obtain Lavos in blueprint form, and the following steps are required in order to do this. Firstly, you will need to head to Deimos and go into the Necrolisc. Once you have arrived, you will need to progress through the Entrati standing up until rank 3 Associate. After reaching rank 3 with the Entrati family, you can purchase Lavos' main blueprint and the component blueprints from Father for 5,000 standing each. In order to progress through the Entrati standing, you will need to complete the bounties given to you by Mother and trade the tokens with Grandmother for standing. Next, let's go over the build requirements for each part of Lavos. For the neuroptics, you will need 6 trapezium xenahast, 2,000 titanium, 750 oxium, 2,750 rubido, and 15,000 credits. For the chassis, you will need 2 argon crystal, 5 nitane extract, 1,500 cryotic, 550 polymer bundle, and 15,000 credits. For the systems, you will need 6 Cabo Chum Embolus, 5,500 nanospores, 550 hexanon, 3,000 circuits, and 15,000 credits. Finally, once you have assembled all 3 parts, you can build Lavos with an additional 3 Orokin cell and 25,000 credits. Before we end, let's go over Lavos' abilities. Lavos has 3 different passive abilities. These are Valence Block. Purifying himself from all the ailments, Lavos cleanses all active negative status effects and gains status immunity for 10 seconds upon collecting an energy or universal orb. Lavos can only collect a single energy or universal orb every 5 seconds. Special casting. Lavos has no energy capacity and his abilities do not require any resources to activate. Instead, each of his abilities are free to cast with a cooldown in between uses. The ability efficiency stat will instead affect the cooldown reduction effect from Transmutation Probe. Experiment and unleash volatile mixtures of deadly elements. Hold down one of the 4 ability buttons to imbue a primary elemental damage type into the mixing vial displayed above Lavos' ability icons. Imbuement has no cost nor cooldown between uses. Finally, Lavos has some rank bonuses. Unlike most other Warframes, when Lavos ranks up, he receives a special set of rank bonuses which indicated at the top left of the Warframe upgrade screen. Plus 10% armor at rank 2, plus 20% armor at rank 8, plus 30% armor at rank 14, plus 40% armor at rank 20, and finally plus 50% armor at rank 26. This results in a total of plus 50% armor at rank 30. Lavos' first ability is Ophidian Bite. When cast, Lavos' serpents uncurl from his arms, lashing out in a 100-degree cone spanning 10 meters in front of Lavos. Enemies in direct line of sight and in range receive a venomous bite that inflicts 1,000 toxin and up to 1,000 imbued elemental damage and status effects, while briefly opening the affected enemies to melee finisher prompts. Each enemy bitten also heals Lavos' health pool for 15% of total damage dealt. Casting Ophidian Bite triggers a cooldown of 8 seconds before the ability can be recast. The second ability for Lavos is Sushumable in Helminth, and this is Vial Rush. It can be subsumed into Helminth for 77% calcs, 55% biotics, and 80% bile. When Vial Rush is used, Lavos charges forward in a sustained slide, steering with left and right movement keys for a distance of 30 meters, whilst his serpents rapidly throw out up to 24 vials from his waist belt. Thrown vials fall towards Lavos' left and right slides in an arcing trajectory, shattering on impact with solid surfaces, leaving a trail behind him. Shattered vials leave behind a pool of frozen residue in their impact zone, each lingering for 8 seconds and spanning a 2-meter radius that inflicts 250 cold and 250 imbued elemental damage to all enemies standing within the pools. At the end of his charge, Lavos emits an icy explosion spanning a 9-meter radius that inflicts a single instance of cold and imbued elemental damage and status effects, whilst throwing out a ring of vials that shatter around his destination. Casting Vial Rush triggers a cooldown of 5 seconds at the end of Lavos' rush before he can charge again. The third ability is Transmutation Probe. Lavos launches an advanced alchemic apparatus towards the direction of the aiming reticule. The Transmutation Probe is an invulnerable floating device that travels at a speed of 15 meters per second, lasting for 3 seconds as it emits a field of electrical currents spanning a 6-meter radius. Enemies within the electrical field receive 250 electricity and 250 imbued elemental damage and status effects per second. For each enemy electrocuted, 1.5 seconds is removed from the active cooldowns on Lavos' other abilities. Pressing the ability key again after the ability has been active for at least half a second to hold the probe's position at its current location. Casting Transmutation Probe triggers a cooldown of 10 seconds when the active probe expires before a new probe can be launched. Lavos' final ability is Catalyze. When cast, Lavos materializes a satellite ring of 9 catalyst probes that fan out in all directions, traveling in a zigzag pattern at a speed of 8.33 meters a second for 3 seconds to reach a maximum distance of 25 enemies before dissipating. Catalyst probes are invulnerable and entangleable flying devices that continuously spray a mist of highly flammable gel that extends 5 meters above and below the probes to coat all enemies coming into contact with them. Enemies coated with the gel receive 2000 heat plus 2000 imbued elemental damage and guaranteed status effects of both. Damage is further doubled for each unique elemental status effect active on any enemy before being coated by the gel. Casting Catalyst triggers a cooldown of 30 seconds when the probe reaches a maximum distance before the ability can be recast. That covers just about everything there is to know for farming and obtaining Lavos. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this guide, please like and subscribe for more.